Back again. What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another stream for you guys. Sorry about the full start this morning, but we are now here with you. We got an action-packed stream for you guys. First of all, we're going to get through the Champions League draw for the last 16, which is about to happen any second now. And then we're going to be getting into the Liverpool match review, obviously 2-1 defeat at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday. But in terms of the Champions League draw is where we're going to start today. They're already there out on the screen, ready to draw the teams out. In terms of the group winners, you've got Bayern, Benfica, Chelsea, Manchester City, Napoli, Porto, Real Madrid and Tottenham Hotspur. And in terms of the runners-up, we can face any of these teams apart from the English teams and Frankfurt, but it's Club Brugge, Dortmund, Frankfurt, Inter Milan, Leipzig, Liverpool, Milan and PSG. So we can face any of those teams apart from Liverpool and Eintracht Frankfurt. In terms of those teams, Sim, who are you favouring for the next round? Who do you want to see?
For me, there's not really an easy team there. As much as, I mean, look, we're in the Champions League, we're in the last 16, so there's not any team that I look at and I'm like, yeah, I mean, we're guaranteed to go through. But the teams I'd really want to face, I mean, Bruges have been really good in the group stages, and that, for me, they're a bit dark horses, but I guess when you're picking them out, the other side, so it'd have to be one of them. Leipzig,
Bruges got a bit lucky, though, because like they're not even like in the top two of their league in Belgium. You know, they're like sitting third in the Belgian league.
They didn't seem to get lucky. They seem to play very well in those group stages and be very consistent, but then in Atletico were off form, Leverkusen as well weren't great in the early stages, so maybe there was a bit of luck, but Bruges obviously one of the teams. Leipzig were very hit and miss, but they seem to be coming into form at the moment. They're probably one of the teams to face. Do I want to face one of the Italian teams, potentially Inter or AC Milan? Both having mixed seasons so far, but both been involved in title races last 2 seasons as well. So do I really want to gamble one of those teams? Obviously, Paris Saint-Germain is a big one to avoid. And then Borussia Dortmund. Again, they're having a bit of a mixed season out in Germany, but they've been seen to hitting form. That 17-year-old striker, Moukoko, seems to be like a future star, or a star at the moment. So I think Bruges obviously have to be the team you'd have to want, I guess, out of that. Any other team, I mean, Inter, AC, Dortmund, Leipzig and PSG, those are all very tough teams.
Yeah, absolutely. But I want to know what you guys think out there. Obviously, we will be taking calls for the Champions League draw reaction and the Liverpool reaction to the defeat as well. But I want you to put in the comments section below who you want in the next round. Let me repeat the teams that we could face. So it's Club Brugge, Borussia Dortmund, Inter, Leipzig, Milan or PSG. So a lot of big teams there. But I think it's good in terms of who we could have faced. In terms of if we didn't get that goal in the last minute against Marseille, we could have faced Bayern, Benfica, Napoli,
Yeah.
Porto, Real Madrid, you know, so we definitely got away with one there by getting that last-minute goal, didn't we?
100%. It would have been nearly impossible to get through to the next round if we would have to the quarters if we would have if Højbjerg didn't score that goal. So we've done very well. Gives us a fighting chance. But if we do draw PSG, it would have felt like we might as well finish second if we draw
Well,
PSG.
a lot of fans in the comment section right now saying they want PSG. They want the big hitter early on.
Yeah, maybe it would help if we get through that, and it'll really give us a lot of confidence going forward. But if we go out early, you don't want to be going out in the last 16. That's the thing.
The thing is, it's just like our record against big clubs
Really,
so far
this
this
season
season.
not been good. But then again, maybe it could be a different story next season. Sorry, second half of the season, maybe with some January investment, maybe with some players back from injury. Yeah, it's been frustrating, these performances. I think, obviously, against Arsenal and against Man United, we got really outplayed. But then against like yesterday against Liverpool and against Newcastle, you could definitely argue we were, for in terms of how the games went, we're probably unlucky to have lost both those games, but shooting ourselves in the foot in those games. So we just need to stop making those unforced errors and then give ourselves a fighting chance. It's
very
very frustrating.
Very frustrating. I mean, yeah, you're right in those Newcastle and Liverpool games, but Liverpool, they haven't won an away game for 6 months. And Newcastle, I mean, in terms of man for man, you'd probably say we should be beating them. You know what I mean? When it's like the real big teams, like, you know, the Manchester United, who also haven't been on the greatest form, Arsenal, who are clearly on good form this year. I mean, these games we've been completely outplayed.
That's true. Well, Newcastle, yeah, you can say man for man should be beating them, but they've been brilliant. They only lost one game where they shouldn't even lost that game against Liverpool. So they have really come on leaps and bounds this season, Newcastle.
It's a hard game, Newcastle, no two ways about it. But do you consider them like a big team right now?
I think they've become it, yeah.
Already?
Yeah, already. I think they're going to be right in that fight for top four, from what I'm seeing. All right, looks like we're about to get underway. I think they're explaining the draw. Let's hear what they got to say.
Tobias Henstock, head of club competitions and calendar, is just explaining how the draw's going to work, and it's basically just very simple. Pot 1 gets drawn out to pot 2. Obviously, there's a few permutations that certain clubs can't draw certain clubs. So in Tottenham's example, we can't draw Liverpool because they're an English team, and we can't draw Eintracht Frankfurt because they were in our group in the Champions League. So again, that leaves us with Club Brugge, Borussia Dortmund, Inter, RB Leipzig, AC Milan and Paris Saint-Germain. So some big teams there. Sam saying, who do we want? Sim said his pick would be Bruges. I'd probably go for the same. But PSG are the ones to avoid. But the way I think about it is like, we're going to have to face one of these big teams in the round after anyway. So there's not too much of a difference, in my opinion, if we get PSG now or if we get someone of that caliber in the next round. It really don't think it matters too much.
Yeah, but given Conte's UEFA Champions League record, he has never made it past the quarters so far. So if he again goes out early, it just plays into that narrative. At least he gets to the quarters or the semis. It looks a bit better, doesn't it? Obviously, he's still not winning it, but gives him more pedigree in Europe than having that record. He's ever gone past the quarters. That's probably what he's aiming. He just wants to probably break that.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that, to be honest. So
you want to go as far as possible.
Of course you want to go as far as possible, but if you get to the quarters or get to the last 16, there's not too much of a difference.
I know, at the beginning of the season, you would probably say, you give yourselves targets, and it's like, you need to get at least to this stage, and you would have said probably quarters of the Champions League, so it would be a bit disappointing if you got earlier than that.
Yeah. No, I from that sense, yes. But I think all in all, in the grand scheme of things, if you finish in the last 16...
Obviously, you could say it makes no difference going out in the group stages or the final, technically.
Yeah, the
draw's out. Draw's coming out.
Ball is just come out the box. And who have we got? RB Leipzig are the first team out the pot.
They'll be at home in the first leg. And away in the second leg. They can't face Munich or Madrid.
So Tottenham, Porto, Napoli, Benfica, Man City, Real Madrid or Chelsea about to get pulled out.
All right.
Fancy a bit of revenge against Leipzig?
Yeah, why not? Why not? Although Werner was there last time we faced him, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he's back there. And it will be Man City.
Ooh, Man City get Leipzig.
Man City against RB Leipzig. They're fine with that, I'm sure. So Man City will play.
Yeah, RB Leipzig against Manchester City.
Next one. Here we are, Bruges.
Here we go. It's the one that everyone wants. Probably the lowest ranked team in the Champions League.
They can only not face Porto. This is one everyone wants. Let's see who gets them. Bruges is a lovely city to go to as well.
I'd love to go to Bruges.
So there's an away day. It's probably right up there. Here we go.
Here we go.
Hamit Altintop has pulled the ball, and the team is Benfica.
Benfica. So one of Benfica or Bruges will be in the quarterfinals of the Champions League.
Wow. Well, Benfica have been sensational this season.
Yeah,
unbeaten all season, I think, still. And they were brilliant in the group stages as well. Didn't lose at all to PSG.
That means it's going to be a very big tie for Spurs. In the last
whoever
16.
we play now, it's going to be a tough one.
For fifth team about to get called up, it's
Liverpool.
Liverpool.
We can't face Liverpool, so it's not us. Liverpool, though, is drawn out next. It'll be interesting if they get PSG. Oh, they can't get... Sorry, they can't get PSG. They finished second. Madrid, Porto, or Bayern. Wow. They're going to face Porto, aren't they? Oh, my God. Of course they're going to get Porto. They play Porto every year in the Champions League.
They play Madrid every year as well, to be fair.
No, Porto is always. Every single year is Porto. Next one is...
Real Madrid, please.
Real
Yay!
Madrid!
Real
Wow,
Madrid,
what a tie.
Liverpool.
What a tie. Liverpool against Real Madrid in the last 16.
Called it as well. Liverpool, Real Madrid, what a tie. Biggest tie of the last 16 so far. Liverpool against Real Madrid. Next up.
We're going to get Inter, aren't we? Here's AC.
Milan. Back to the San Siro. We've got two chances to go back to the San Siro, to be fair. Now it's Porto, Bayern or Tottenham against AC Milan. Out the hat now. Tottenham Hotspur.
It's Tottenham.
We are going back to the San Siro, people. AC Milan. We got last time we played AC Milan in the last 16, we won 1-0, didn't we? Over 2 legs.
We did. Peter
I was
Crouch.
there in the San Siro. Peter Crouch. And we'll be there again.
We return to the San Siro. Great, brilliant draw. Glamour tie.
Frankfurt out next.
All right, so Milan.
Oh,
AC
poor
Milan.
Iggy. Poor Iggy.
Iggy won't know what to do with himself. He won't know what to do with himself. Was this Frankfurt's debut season in the Champions League? All right, Frankfurt are going to play Napoli. Frankfurt versus Napoli.
Frankfurt, Napoli.
So one of them will be in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I think that's a straightforward tie for Napoli, to be fair. The way they're playing this season.
Yeah, Napoli look like a serious team this year. AC Milan. Well, Chelsea beat them twice in the group stages.
Borussia Dortmund out next.
Someone to Chelsea will get PSG.
Dortmund against Chelsea or Porto? Give them Porto. That means it'll be PSG Chelsea. Give them Porto.
No, Bayern's still.
Bayern's still there.
I know, but Chelsea won the group. They can't place Bayern. Bayern could play PSG though. Chelsea.
Chelsea, Porto.
Chelsea versus Dortmund.
Oh, Dortmund, sorry.
Chelsea versus Dortmund. Not very easy, but you expect them to get through.
Yeah.
So, only two left. Who's this? So Inter Milan against Porto. They can't play. Can't play.
That means
Bayern.
it's Bayern PSG.
Why can't they play Bayern? Were they in the same group? No. I don't know why they can't play Bayern. Were they in the same group?
To be honest.
No, they weren't. Inter
was in Barca's group. Yeah.
Oh, they were in the same. Yeah, they were in the same group. All right, there you go. So it's Bayern versus PSG. So at least one of those big hitters will be out.
So one of Bayern or PSG are out, and one of Real Madrid and Liverpool are out.
Yeah, that's positive. All right, Bayern versus another big tie. Bayern versus PSG. So that concludes the draw. PSG versus Bayern Munich in the last tie.
Wow. What a draw. So
unbelievable.
The last teams drawn out was Bayern against PSG. But let's run through that draw with you guys one more time. So it's Leipzig against Man City, Club Brugge against Benfica, Liverpool against Real Madrid, AC Milan against Tottenham, Frankfurt against Napoli, Dortmund against Chelsea, Inter Milan against Porto, PSG against Bayern Munich.
Brilliant.
I'm happy with that draw. I'm really happy with that draw.
I think, look, AC Milan, obviously they're a good team and they won Serie A last season, but they did lose twice in the group stages to Chelsea and didn't look that convincing. They're still relying on a lot of aging players, although Rafael Leao is really coming on this season, but they're still quite relying on people like Giroud up top, who's obviously a good player, but definitely a tie you go into it thinking they're definitely beatable. I really believe that. And
they haven't been that great this season.
Yeah, they've been very, very mixed this season. I don't know where they currently sit in Serie A.
I think they're about third or fourth.
Let's see where they currently sit in Serie A. They currently sit second at the moment. Second, they're 6 points behind Napoli, who are currently leading the way. Inter Milan all the way down in seventh. Wow. But look, they definitely haven't maybe hit the heights of last season. But to be fair, 13 games, 9 wins. So still doing fairly well. 27 goals for, 14 goals against in Serie A this season. But in the Champions League, I don't think they were particularly impressive. Definitely, I think they had to run. Didn't they have to run a late winner to go for? I can't remember now. They they beat Salzburg 4-0. So they beat Salzburg, but they definitely struggled in both games against Chelsea quite badly. And then the other team was Zagreb. They had to beat.
Yeah, they had to beat Salzburg the last game to go through. They were level on points, I think. So it was basically winner went through in the last game, and they smashed them 4-0.
So fair enough. And maybe they're starting to turn things around after a bit of an indifferent start. But they're definitely a good team. You can't discount the current Serie A holders. They're clearly still a very good team, but it's just they're definitely beatable. Chelsea showed that, and so I think who are favourites going into that tie? Do you think?
I think Spurs slightly favourites. I think it's very even though. It'll be very even with the bookies this one, I think. But I think just slightly favourites. It'll be good to get Iggy's knowledge on AC Milan at some point, but. It's important to note that the first legs of these rounds will be played in February. The second legs will be played in March. So still quite a while to wait for this. So hopefully we can get a few January transfers in before we do face this this Milan team in the last 16. In terms of the other groups, in the other draws, to see 2 rounds like that in Liverpool, Real Madrid and PSG, Bayern Munich, that's got to be a great thing for us.
Yeah, and I guess that lowers the chances of facing in the next round another big team. And obviously it means 2 big teams are definitely going out in the round of 16, which can only be a positive thing. and obviously we avoid those big teams in the round of 16, which is really good. So we can just sit back and enjoy those games. We have to make sure that we get the job done against Milan. Obviously, we have history against them, so it's going to be a very interesting tie. Hopefully, history can repeat itself with how we performed. It was actually our first ever Champions League campaign way back when we played them back in 2011. It was a glorious moment back then, getting through. The expectations are very different now. It's interesting to see how the expectations have changed, because we were massive underdogs back then, and now, maybe, as you say, probably maybe even slight favourites against AC Milan this time round.
Yeah,
but
done the job. We need Joe Jordan on the sidelines.
Yeah, 100%. No, there's going to be no Gattuso headbutting Jordan or anything like that this time round. But I'm sure they'll have its fair share of drama. But from an AC Milan point of view, they probably also feel like they lucked out getting us, because they could have had, a number of difficult teams who finished top of their group. So both teams will probably be happy with the draw, I would say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And when you're looking at the players that they do have in the attacking line, I mean, Rafael Leao, obviously a brilliant player. Olivier Giroud scoring quite a few goals, and he'll definitely want to put one on us. Olivier Giroud, ex-Chelsea and ex-Arsenal player. They've got Divock Origi as well, who's got previous against us in the Champions League. Sandro Tonali, who's an absolutely brilliant defensive midfielder. They've got some really good players. Tomori at the back. De Ketelaere from Club Brugge last season. He's a really good player. Benacer as well in the middle of the park, who's a top player. They've got good players all over the park, AC Milan, so it's going to be a very tough tie. But I think it is one of the better ties that we could have got, but there's no two ways about it. This is going to be a really tough game, especially with the way we're playing at the moment, giving teams 45 minutes to stick it on us.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very different by the time this game rolls around. It'll be February. It'll be, the World Cup would have happened. There'll be another month of or 6 weeks of Premier League and Cup action before this game. So hard to make too many assumptions based on how we're playing now to how that game's going to go, but agreed, we can't give them the first leg like how we've been giving teams the first half so far this season. But it's going to be interesting to see what kind of state both clubs are in. Our
recent record against AC Milan is fairly good, though. It's not just that game we played against them. We played against them another time as well, didn't we?
AC?
Yeah. Or was it Inter I'm thinking of?
You're thinking of Inter, because we played Inter in Europa League.
We played Inter Europa and Champions League.
Yeah. We played Inter Milan in the group stages. I don't think we played AC since. I'm trying to remember. I don't think we played AC since that game. Not to my knowledge. Did we play them in Europa League? I don't think so.
No, you're right. We haven't. Yeah. We've actually played them in 2011. The time before that was 1972. We've never lost a game to them in European competition.
Unbeaten record.
2 draws out in the San Siro, 1-1 and 0-0, and 2 wins for Spurs. Well, a draw. We got a draw at the White Hart Lane, didn't
Maybe
we?
having Conte in charge, facing an Italian team might benefit us. We know the Italian team's a lot better. He knows.
So. Yeah,
he'll understand the Italian game more, and obviously his tactics are definitely very good in Serie A. We've seen that already. How many titles he's won in that country. So, and him being an Inter Milan guy, maybe that bit of rivalry with the AC Milan, maybe.
Yeah, I think it could add a bit of fuel to the fire. Obviously, he was fierce rivals with AC Milan for a couple of years, or just over a year, however long he was at Inter Milan for. But yeah, I'm interested to get all your opinions on the draw. I definitely want to hear from Iggy, that's for sure.
Yeah, Iggy has to call in.
He's got close ties between Spurs and AC Milan, so it'll be great to see where his head is at with everything. I know that this is the draw that he most definitely did not want, but it has happened now, and Spurs are playing AC Milan, so it'll be great to get all your opinions. We'll get into the match review next, but do click the link in the community section and join the show, because we really want to get your opinions on this Champions League draw and on the Liverpool game yesterday. But I think it's time to get into the match review. Obviously, Spurs lost 2-1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday. Another game of 2 halves. But I think it was a bit different in the first half this time. I think that we actually played... we had moments in that first half where we definitely could have scored. We hit the bar. Perisic was causing all sorts of problems for Trent Alexander-Arnold. And I think that It's just a shame that we have to go through these defensive lapses in concentration. That first goal was dreadful. How Darwin Núñez was allowed so much time in that box to make a lovely touch and play it to Mo Salah, and how Mo Salah was allowed so much time in that box just to finish it in the back of the net. And we need to be more aware of our surroundings when we're in our box defending like that, especially against a team with so much talent in Liverpool with Darwin Núñez and Mo Salah. And what can you say about the second goal? I mean, Eric Dyer, what are you doing? It's just like every time I watch it, it just gets worse and worse, that.
Yeah, it goes off his shoulder. Obviously trying to head it back to Lloris, and he just misjudges it. The problem, look, you can maybe excuse Dyer that if it was one of his only mistakes of the season. The problem is he's been making these kind of mistakes too often this season now. Last season, when Conte came in November, he was pretty consistent from then till the end of the season with very few errors, if any, for the whole second half of last season. And even at beginning of this season, he was all right, despite some rash moments. But in the last few weeks, he's been making some really calamitous errors. And some games they haven't cost us, but some games they have. And this is definitely one which definitely cost us. And that first half, I think, again, we came out a bit slowly. We did concede, and that goal, I've watched it again, and we have so many defenders in the penalty area. Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't understand how we can have 5 defenders in the penalty area, yet Núñez and Salah both have the opportunity to take a touch, and Núñez actually has time to take a touch, turn, and pass to Salah, which I don't understand. And Salah has time to take a touch and slot it into the corner, which I don't understand how no defenders are getting near them throughout that whole move. I think that was absolutely diabolical. Just so easy for Liverpool. That should never be the case. Never be the case, especially when we're playing that deep. It should never be the case they get so much time inside our own box. I thought that was pathetic, to be honest. Then there was a good reaction to the goal conceding. We hit the post. Højbjerg had a good chance. Sessegnon probably should have had a penalty, to be honest. I think, if anyone's saying it's soft or anything, Cancelo gets sent off on Saturday, no one says anything. No one says that's soft. No one says it shouldn't have been a penalty.
If you watch it, his arms are on Sessegnon. He clearly shoves him in the back. In what world is that not a penalty?
It's a penalty. It's a penalty. I think the referee probably gets it wrong. I agree that VAR shouldn't get involved. I do agree with that, because I don't think it's enough of a clear and obvious foul where you say that the referee the VAR should be getting involved in incidents like that. Doesn't mean the referee hasn't made a mistake, though. And I think the referee should have given a penalty on that one. I think we've been a bit hard done by, and if anyone was looking like who was going to score the next goal, it looked like it was going to be Tottenham after we conceded. To be fair, we started to dominate territorially, but what happens? Alisson plays one long ball over the top looking for Salah. Dyer's in full control of it. He can either head it back to Lloris. He's got 2 other defenders to head it back to as well, if he wants to. He decides to go for the option of heading it back to Lloris. He misjudges the header. It hits his shoulder. And all of a sudden, Salah's through on goal, and it's 2-0. And just like against Newcastle, we're 2-0 down, where the game just hasn't been that. It just had if you're looking at the game objectively, this should not be 2-0 to the opposition. Yeah, it is, because we keep shooting ourselves to foot. Just like against Newcastle, where Lloris comes charging out his goal and gives them a goal where they probably against the run of play. Dyer does that moment against run of play where we're on top. And I don't think that gets recognised. Everyone says it was so shocking first half, but no one recognises that at 1-0 down, we were probably the team looking most likely to score. However, it's also safe to say at 2-0, for the following 5 minutes, it could have been 3. They did pepper us for those last 5 minutes. And I think it was maybe a case of them gaining confidence, that second goal, maybe Spurs retreating a bit, don't want to concede a third before half time. So definitely those last 5 minutes of the second half was all Liverpool, and so we had to just get through those. But once the second half started, it was pretty much all Tottenham for that second half, barring a couple of counter-attacks. Salah had a good chance, and I think Núñez hit the bar, although it might have been offside. It was pretty much all Tottenham. We penned them in. Set pieces, we were creating chance after chance. We had Dyer had a header. Kane had a header from a Perisic set piece. Dyer, very noticeably, was getting a lot further forward than he was in the first half, and actually to really good effect. And I was like, you know what? For all the shit Dyer gets, and we give him a lot of shit, I have to give him credit for his second half performance. I thought he was actually really good in that second half.
I like him in that right centre back role. He gets up the pitch, he gets crosses in the box, and he's got good quality in his crossing.
Yeah,
really good quality. So I agree with you. I mean, like in those moments, they're fine, but it's just like, how much longer can you keep up with someone that keeps making these errors that are costing us?
And that's
dearly?
fair. No, that's fair. Doesn't mean we have to mention his error every time it doesn't mean every time someone mentions that he did something good, you have to mention his errors. You know what I mean? You can mention that. You can talk about how the good stuff he did. Oh, and we've mentioned his errors plenty. Not saying we never mention his errors. I'm just saying, every time, if he does something bad, anytime he does something good, you have to bring up the bad, if you know what I mean. Like, you don't just allow him
It's hard not to, though, like when you're losing a game 2-1, and yes, he's done some really good stuff in the game, especially in that second half, but when you're losing 2-1 by the odd goal, and that goal that you lose, it's his fatal error, that is that's the one letting us down. It's hard not to have it in your mind. It really is.
And understand that. It's fair enough. I'm just saying, in the second half, I thought he was one of our best players, to be honest. I thought he was really good. And I agree. His crossing, he was getting forward in those half spaces on the right hand side, whipping in some really good crosses. Actually, his link-up play with either the wing-back or Kulusevski when he came on was also really good. The only thing I question in that right centre-back role, he did really well. However, we were penning Liverpool in that second half. Can he do it? Can he do that wide centre-back role against maybe, because I thought in the first half, actually, he struggled quite badly against Nunes at times in that wide centre-back role, and I thought he was getting a bit exposed for pace. But when we were penning them in and we were having a lot of possession, that's when he came a bit more effective. So I thought defensively he wasn't so good in the role, but offensively I was really happy with him on the ball. I thought his some of his long passes was brilliant. Some of his switches of play were brilliant.
Isn't that a problem in itself, though? Like, defensively is where you worry about our defender and our number one defender as well at that. I mean, it's just shocking. I mean, like, we've stuck up for Dyer as well on this channel a number of times. Last year we were very happy with him, but it's come to a point now with players like him, Emerson Royale, Davinson Sanchez. I know he didn't play yesterday. Matt Doherty. You know, all these players. It's time that we need to upgrade on them, like, as soon as possible, because they're hurting us more than they're giving to us at the moment.
And I think the case of Dyer, which we've said many, many times, it's not the case of him not being good enough. It's a case of us relying on him to be our main central defender. If he was part of a rotation, or if he was one of many good centre backs, then I think he is good enough. But when you're relying on him to be your best centre back or your main centre back, which we are, then it's a problem. Then it is a problem, because we're overplaying him. He's also not good enough to consistently keep up that high level performance that he's shown he can have over a long stretch, over too long a period. And I think that's probably the main problem. I don't think he's going to get shit on. I don't think he's a bad player, Dyer. I don't think he's a bad defender. I do think he's good, but Dyer shouldn't be your best centre back. Is my point.
For me, Poch had it right, and he should be a backup player at best. I don't think that. We need to sell him.
And same for Davis.
Yeah, same for Davis, same for Emerson, same for Doc, same to all these players, right? I don't mind keeping some of them around in the squad. I wouldn't say all of them, but they need to be backup players at best, squad players at best, using rotation, cup games, when we have injuries and stuff like that. To rely on them as our number one players, you're never going to achieve what we want to achieve. You're never going to improve, because you're always going to have those lapses of concentration, week in, week out.
Even with Dyer, it's not even a case of him being our number one. Is he has no competition. He just so he has to play every game, and he's like, and when he doesn't play, we've seen it before. When he doesn't play, our backline suffers, and that's an indictment of our options at centre back, not more of a case for saying Dyer's that good. But I think Dyer, he has to take the criticism, because those mistakes are costing us points, and they were completely unforced as well. It was really shocking. But when people say he's rubbish, he's useless, he's terrible, all these kind of things, I don't subscribe to that. I do think he's a good player, and I do think he's been good for Tottenham in general, definitely since Conte's come in.
How good is he, though? Like, if you're going to sell him to a Premier League club, which Premier League club, like highest level Premier League club, does he start week in, week out for?
The problem with Dyer is the reason why he wouldn't play in for Man City or Liverpool or Arsenal is because they don't play a back three. And I think the only way... Dyer is only a top 4 level player in a back three. He's not a top 4 level centre back in a back two. He needs that protection. So from that sense, none of the top 6 will probably go for him. However, Chelsea maybe would potentially in a back three. They might snap him up. Other than that, I think they might. I think
Chelsea?
Yeah.
Eric Dyer? No,
I think he's better than Chalobah, who started yesterday.
He might be better than Chalobah, but but if Chelsea are going to dip into the market for a centre-back, they're not going for Eric Dyer's level, I'll tell you that. They're going to be going for a lot better than Eric Dyer.
If you ask me if you'd get in the team right now, I'm saying there's a good case to make that he would.
I don't know, like... Does Chalobah start week in, week out without injuries for Chelsea?
Silva, you got Koulibaly in a back three. I'm not sure who else you have. Maybe Azpilicueta.
I'd start all those 3 over Dyer.
I think Dyer. I think you can make a good case that Dyer potentially gets in their back three.
You've got Fofana as well. I mean, Dyer does not get into that Chelsea team if everyone's fit. No chance. Not a chance in hell.
Okay, fine. Maybe not Chelsea. He might be in their rotation. He might be good enough for their squad.
No,
I think he would be.
As it stands right now, Eric Dyer is nowhere near good enough for Chelsea for what they want to achieve. It'd be the same as him playing for us. I mean, we want to achieve pretty much the same things as Chelsea, and he's not good enough for us. So how's he going to be good enough for Chelsea?
He doesn't start in any of the top 4 teams. I agree with you there. He's probably a Europa League level.
I don't even think he gets into the Newcastle team.
Who they got? Shah. They've got Botman and Burn. Well, Burn hasn't had anything capped despite him playing well recently. I mean, Fabian Shah has been good, but I don't know how Dyer would look in their system. But playing in a back 4, you probably don't want him there. I mean, I think just because I think he probably gets in like West Ham's team.
Great, that's the level we're at. I mean, you've gone from Chelsea to West Ham.
He's probably Europa League. I think in a back 4, he's a Europa League level centre back. In a back 3, I think he's a top 4 level centre back, and that's proven by the fact we got top 4 last season. For me, so I think he is good enough to be that level. But we're trying to make the step up.
Who did we get top 4 over last season? Right, Arsenal, Manchester United. Anyone else? Big teams? Just those 2, right?
Yeah.
Right now, he doesn't get into either of those teams. Saliba's come in, he's like 10 million times better than Eric Dyer. And Lisandro Martinez has come into Manchester United, who also is miles and miles better than Eric Dyer. So all of our competition around us that finish below us are strengthening big time. And we're still stuck here with Eric Dyer and these idiots at the back.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing. We need to improve. I'm not disagreeing.
Is this when are we going to dip into this market and improve our defence? It's been way too long now. These players have been here for way too long, and I'm getting sick and tired of watching them week in, week out, to be honest.
I'm not disagreeing with you that Dyer isn't good enough for us where we want to be. We need to improve on him. I'm just saying you can have Dyer as your option at centre-back, and that's not. I don't think that's a bad option to have. I just think when he's your number 1 centre-back, especially when the one you most rely on, that's your problem. Because I think since Conte's come in, he's been pretty good by and large, ever since Conte's come in. But we've played him every single game. We can't give him a rest. We can't drop him. He's got no competition. We can't rest him. He plays every moment of every single game, and even it doesn't matter what the game is. He has to play. We can't let him put him on the bench. Yeah. And when we did put him on the bench, what happened against Bournemouth? We're 2-0 down. So that's what happened.
2-0 down anyway.
Yeah, but Bournemouth, it's a big difference between Bournemouth and Newcastle and those other teams. So, like, as much as people want to shit on Dyer, he's like, people have to realise that as well. That definitely takes that comes into effect. But of course, we need improvements. He's not. If we want to make the step up from being top 4 challengers to title challengers, then we need better than Dyer, 100%. And he keeps making too many costly errors. But he was brilliant in the second half on the ball. I think on the ball, he's a fantastic centre back, and I think he's got one of the best passing ranges out of the back in the league. To be honest, I think he's really strong on the ball. I think his time as midfielder has done him really good. But he obviously defensively and his pace and concentration is letting him down at the moment, and that's that's sad to see, because it's putting all his good work meaning nothing, basically. That's the case. And
I think that, like, look, let's move on from Dyer now. Let's talk about a few positives from yesterday, because there were positives at that game yesterday, and I thought that a few players really stood up for us yesterday, and I thought Clement Longley, first of all, at the back, thought he had a really strong game. His playing ability out the back was really working for us in that second half. You saw that lovely ball playing ability from Longley in there, didn't you, yesterday?
Yeah, Longley had a very strong showing. I was happy with him in the central area. There was one moment where he nearly put us in trouble, but he played a blind square pass, but he's just about got away with it. But
he's the one that recovered and made the challenge for it as well.
I can't remember if it was if he made a challenge or it was offside. I think Nunes got the ball and he played it to a player who was offside. But I think he made a challenge anyway, which recovered it. But I think he seems very calm in that position. His passing is nice and crisp, and more often than not very accurate. His long passing as well was definitely improving, and he's definitely starting to show off a bit more. So I was happy with him. I thought he did really well. Again, he was also a part of the defenders who in the first half for that first goal were just so standoffish and were statues in the box. He was too busy just trying to block the shot instead of actually getting close to the Liverpool players, which was disappointing. But I think by and large, a good showing again from Longley, who's every game in the central position. He seems to be doing good stuff.
Yeah, and are we starting to see our new signings really start to settle in now? Because I think that was Longley's one of his best performances, and I much prefer him in the centre as opposed to when he's on the left. But obviously the options are not much. And another player who's really starting to settle in is Yves Bissouma. Because I thought Yves Bissouma, he's had a few nice cameos when coming on, but when starting from the game, I mean, he hasn't really pulled up many trees, and we haven't been that impressed with him when starting. But yesterday, I thought from the off was probably his best performance in a Spurs shirt.
Yeah, I was really impressed with him. I think occasionally, the only downside I would say is he tends to overcomplicate things occasionally, when a simple pass would be a better option and he tries to play his way out of trouble. But on the benefit of side, when he does play his way out of trouble, like gets a dribble or gets past the player with a drive or a nice control, then it opens up the space a bit more and it allows us to get up the pitch a lot quicker. So I thought defensively was definitely his best game in the Tottenham shirt. I thought he was immense in the second half when Liverpool trying to counter-attack. He was using his pace and strength to just cover so much ground and allow Tottenham a platform to pen Liverpool in. Liverpool playing long balls, the Liverpool trying to run in behind, but he was just mopping it up in the central areas time and time again. And he was a really good shield to just blocking what Liverpool had on the counter. I was really happy with him, and also allowed Bentancur and Højbjerg a bit more freedom. They were getting forward quite well. Bentancur again had another strong game. Yet again, he was really good. But yeah, sticking on Bissouma, I was really happy with him in this performance, and definitely making more. Still not fully there. Yeah,
definitely a step in the right
direction. But 100% much better than what we were seeing earlier in the season. More confidence.
When he gets the balls in those tight spaces and just wriggles away from like two men when he's in those tight. That's when he's going to earn his money. You know what I mean? And we're seeing like flashes of that come in the last couple of games. But yesterday you really saw it a number of times.
Yeah, his confidence definitely seems to be growing in the role, and he seems to be having that confidence. Because before it kind of felt like he didn't want to make any mistakes or stuff, but now he seemed like, when I say he overcomplicates things, in a way it's a positive, because it means he's having that confidence to try things, take people on, instead of just doing the simple things that he was doing. Now, as you can do that too much, which maybe occasionally yesterday he did, but it's definitely positive that he's trying to be a bit more proactive in his play, trying to beat players, trying to wriggle out those tight situations instead of just taking the easy option like he was doing earlier. So I'm definitely getting happier with Bissouma for sure.
Another player who I want to talk to you about is Perisic, because obviously played in a different role from the start of the game, did move back to left wing back later on in the game, but he was causing Liverpool a lot of problems, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I even thought when he was up front, even in the first half, he was probably our biggest threat. He nearly caused Alisson to score an own goal when Alisson hit the post in the first half. I thought he was the only one really intensely pressing really in the first half, winning the ball
working
back.
hard.
He was working so hard. He was trying his best. Obviously, clearly that role wasn't completely natural to him, but I felt like he was our biggest threat in the first half. He was the one showing a bit of heart a lot of that time in the first half. And then once he moved to left wing back, I thought he was brilliant, whatever people want to say. I thought the crosses from the free kicks and corners were by and large really good. There were a couple of corners, to be honest, that hit the first man, but by and large, I can remember off the top of my head 3 corners that were on the money where we should have scored from, and there was that free kick as well just before Kulusevski came on, literally a second before Kulusevski came on, whipped in a beautiful free kick which Kane headed just wide. His crossing ability I thought was fully on show yesterday, and it's such a shame we couldn't convert any of them, because I thought he put so many on the money and we just weren't clinical enough to make use of them. There were so many that went just wide, or we just miscued, or it was we just couldn't get right.
That one when Bentancur's at the back post and just misses
yeah,
it by
Kane
a
flicks
hairline,
it. Kane flicks it to the back post. There was that one. There was
so
Longley
many...
from a corner. Longley should have scored.
Yeah. Longley, man, that should have been a goal.
Yeah.
That really should have been a goal.
Should have got over it.
How many times we hit the bar yesterday? We hit the post yesterday.
And he hit the bar,
gilt-edged chances.
Yeah,
he
hit the bar. He should have scored that,
We
to
were
be fair.
missing gilt-edged chances yesterday, but why does this always happen against Liverpool?
Yeah.
It's like a curse we have against Liverpool. Every time we play them, we miss these kind of chances.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's like, might as well just give up playing against Liverpool, because we always play well every time we play them, but we just miss we miss so many big chances and we end up not winning the game. It happens every time.
Do you think we deserved to win that game yesterday?
I think on the balance of play, yes. I think on the balance of play, we did deserve it. If you're a Liverpool fan, what you would say is first half, you got 2 goals, they were 2-0 up, and they were probably the better team in the first half. And second half, they did have chances on the counter to make it 3. They had 1 or 2 opportunities, so you would argue yes. They would argue they deserved the win, and they defended well, which they did on occasion. But I'm a Tottenham fan, but from a Tottenham point of view, first half we shouldn't have been 2-0 down, despite the fact we were. And second half we completely hound them and harried them and penned them in and gave them virtually nothing, apart from a couple of counter-attacks. We gave them virtually nothing going the other way. And it was all Tottenham pretty much for that whole second half. And if that game went on for a bit longer, we probably would have got the equaliser. But
I think a draw would have been a fair result yesterday.
I think, from my point of view, I think we just about deserved the win. But the fact of the matter is, you can't complain with the draw, especially when you shoot yourself in the foot like we have. I think on the balance of play, we should have won. But when you shoot yourself in the foot, you don't deserve the win. So a draw would have been a fair result.
Exactly. That's my thinking. It's like, if you make these screw-ups in the first half, like we constantly keep doing, can you really say you deserve to win the game? But I think we definitely deserve to take something out of the game, the way we played.
To get nothing out of it was really hard to take, considering how good we were at penning them in and just putting the pressure on and making those chances and forcing Alice into saves. And I thought the delivery, especially from Perisic, was brilliant so very, very often, and we're whipping so many good crosses. And now let's talk about the man who's back in action, Kulusevski.
Oh man, gimme!
You saw the anticipation when he was coming on.
When he came on, it was like a goal had been scored in the stadium. I mean, the relief when we saw him back on that pitch, and from the second he got onto that pitch, he was getting the ball, causing problems for Liverpool. Within 2 minutes, he gets an assist, and I mean, like, his kind of actions on the ball is just unbelievable. It's just like something that we just don't have, when he's not on the pitch, and he's just unbelievable. He really is. And the way he just is so direct, makes the right calls every time, decision making is top notch. I mean, we desperately missed him, man, and you saw that from the first minute he came on the pitch.
Yeah, he was a breath of fresh air. One thing he brought, obviously he got the assist, which obviously decision making definitely plays into that, but he just brought that energy on the ball, which we didn't really have before he came on. He was able to actually, in tight spaces, dribble past people and get the passes off or get the crosses off, which before that, who was doing that on the ball before that? You maybe had Perisic, but that's not really his game. Kane was trying his best to, try and beat some players, but it was like when Kulusevski came on, they really struggled to get the ball off him. He was able to cut inside so often and make things happen, create situations.
It looked effortless.
Like
it didn't take him much effort to do that, and like for someone who couldn't couldn't play 90 minutes, he'd come on like a bull in the china shop, and he was just so direct at it. I mean, every time Spurs were just looking to pass it for him because we knew he was the danger man, and within a second he gets that assist.
Just shows how much we've missed him as well. Him not being in the team for so long now. He's not played since September, you got to remember, since the international break. So it's been a long time him not being in the squad, and he's been very, very sorely missed. Even when we play Richarlison instead of him, like, it's just not the same. It's not the same effectiveness. We look a different outfit when he's on the pitch, and we've missed him massively, and it's so good to have him back. And you know, he gets an assist already, and someone just commented in the comments, 18 goal contributions in 26 games. I mean, the guy is a goal contribution machine, whether he's scoring or getting more often than not getting assist. So really great cameo again from Kulusevski, and maybe he can help us over the line just before the World Cup.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Starts.
He's going to get a nice break over the World Cup period as well, because Sweden aren't going, and it's going to be a much needed rest for Kulu, because we're going to need him massively in that second half of the season. So hopefully he can come back fit and firing after the World Cup. But two players I want to talk to you about in Sessegnon and Emerson Royal. Sorry to go back to the negatives, but first of all, Emerson Royal. Once again, I mean, he put in probably one good delivery throughout the whole game.
Did he?
Yeah, I do remember.
There was one to Kane. There was one good ball. There was a pass, not a cross to Kane.
Yeah, it was a pass. You're right. It was a pass in the first half.
Yeah.
It was a good pass to Kane. But apart from that, I mean, he was getting in good positions. But I mean, there was like one ball into the box where you're really thinking, like, it's such a good position to cross from, and it goes out nearly to the corner flag, and you're just like, what are you doing?
It's classic Emerson. It was a classic Emerson performance again. I think defensively, not too much of note, albeit as well again in that for the first goal where Robertson has all that space. I don't know what Emerson is doing. To be fair, he doesn't go towards him, but whatever. But again, he has the physicality. I've said it so many times. He gets the physicality to get in good positions, get in the good crossing positions. Even gives himself enough time and space to put in a good delivery, but he just doesn't have the quality to do it. Doesn't matter how much time he has, he just doesn't have the quality to deliver a good cross into the box. I mean, he's displayed it time and time again now. I don't know how many times we have to see him do it to learn that lesson, that his crossing. At this point, you just have to give up and just say it's never going to be good enough, because I don't know what he's doing in training to improve it, because every time he has time and space on that right-hand side to whip in a good ball, he has players to aim at, he just fails to deliver every single time. More often than not, either goes out for a goal kick or hits the first man. Never on the money. If you just see how effortlessly Perisic does it on the other side, it just makes it so clear how poor it is that Emerson was doing it. And also, I felt like at times in that second half, we were doing so well to keep possession, keep Liverpool penned in, and then we would give the ball to Emerson, and he would try dribble, and he would lose it, and then he would like try and recover, and then make a foul, and it would just break up play, and he would slow the game down. And he was rightfully taken off for Doherty late in the game. And I think Doherty as well actually had a decent cameo when he came on. He was much better than Emerson, and he was very, very, very frustrating. Although I thought in the first half, to be fair, I thought Emerson wasn't too bad. He was one of our better players in the first half, but second half. Again, it's classic Emerson. When we're up against things and we're playing deep and we're conceding possession and we're defending a lot, he's actually not bad. But when we're on the front foot, when we're forcing the issue, when we have possession, when we need the quality, he becomes the worst player probably the worst player on the pitch, to be honest, in those scenarios. And it happened yesterday.
A player who I was more frustrated though with Emerson was Sessegnon yesterday. And Sessegnon really frustrates me, man. He really frustrates me because he's got such good movement, really good movement. And he gets in the spaces and you're looking like he's getting into these opportunities where he can get a really good ball in the box, attacking the back post late. But his decision-making and his quality is just so bad. So bad. And it was just so frustrating yesterday.
In defence of Sessegnon, all I would say is, one, he was unlucky not to get a penalty, and two, he was unlucky not to get an assist because he laid one on for Perisic to hit the bar. But other than that, he was really poor again yesterday. So many opportunities to someone like Trent, who's low on confidence in defending. He's clearly getting caught out a lot, and at the moment he's struggling defensively. Like every time we took him on, it was too easy for Trent to defend against him. He wasn't making Trent think enough, going back the other way, and he was getting in decent positions, but the quality was lacking, unfortunately, from Sessegnon more often than not, and he really struggled to impact the game positively a lot of the time. And again, rightfully taken off late in the game. We looked a lot better when he was off, to be honest. Once Perisic went back to wing back, we put Kulusevski up front. We looked a lot better. Perisic again showing how what an effective wing back looks like yesterday, and it was night and day to what Sessegnon was offering. And it's such a shame because it's now a few games in a row he really hasn't been good, and now it's off the back of a few really positive displays from him. So it seems as though the performances are dropping a bit from Sessegnon at a time where if he put in some really strong showings, he would even have an outside chance of the World Cup because of the injuries. But he's not showing enough to be on that plane, I don't think, unfortunately, for him.
Absolutely spot on. And finally, let's touch on the boos at half time and the comments from Conte. What do you make out of them?
I am so disappointed that again to be fair, some fans are saying that the fans were booing not at Conte or the team, but more either at individual players like Dyer or at the referee. Now, I don't remember what the referee did in the first half to cause a booing. Maybe the penalty, but that wasn't near half time. I don't think, was it? It was at 1-0. I think.
Well, it was still in the first half.
I know, but I mean, usually boo a referee if he's just made a decision like just before the half-time break. It seems weird to boo a referee when he's made a bad decision halfway through the half.
I think these things are just excuses. The fans booed out of frustration. It was just simple as that.
And that's for me. Look, fans pay their money to go to the football, and you're allowed. I'm not saying you should be banned from booing or anything like that. You're not allowed to boo. You're allowed to do what you want. I just think you shouldn't. I don't think you should boo in those kind of situations, especially when the team is trying its best, especially when I don't even think we were that bad in the first half. We were probably unlucky to be 2-0 down, albeit we did shoot ourselves on the foot. So obviously there's going to be frustration there, and I completely understand that. But I don't think it helps with the situation when fans start not showing support and start booing their own team off the pitch. And the fact that Conte is mentioning it in his post-match press conferences that the fans should be encouraging a bit more, and they need to understand the situation. And I just hope this doesn't develop and grow into something more, because I think, despite what people might say, I think we're going on the right track with Conte. I think we're going in the right direction. I know the results of recent weeks haven't been what we wanted, and there's reasons for that. But I do think the way we're playing is going in a positive direction. I do believe in this manager. I do believe if we can give this manager what he wants and we can give him the tools, he can definitely be a success of this club. But if we're going to hound him out or boo him every time we're unhappy with a performance or something, that's not a way you support your team, especially when we're in the top four, we're through in the Champions League. The big picture, there's not too much to be that angry about. Obviously, you're always going to want better. You're always going to strive for more. We want better players. We want better defenders. We want better performances, of course. I'm not saying don't have high standards, but what I'm saying is our job as fans is to support the team. And when the team are trying their best, they're unlucky to be 2-0 down. It doesn't help the situation by booing them off the pitch and make it look toxic and kind of cause toxic atmosphere. That's not what we want, and I don't think that helps the situation at all. And I'm disappointed, to be honest, that the fans keep doing that in general. I know if you're a fan who booed, you might argue, well, the team came out firing in the second half and it worked. You might argue that, but I think
they do that every week.
From an aesthetics point of view, you're making it look like it's a toxic atmosphere and the fans want Conte and all these kind of things, and that's not a good look to have, especially when the majority of fans don't feel that way, in my opinion. So I think we should stop with the booing at half time. It doesn't help anything, and it just causes bad press and bad toxic atmosphere, which I don't like.
Do people think that Conte doesn't know that Eric Dyer needs to be upgraded on? Do you think he doesn't know that Emerson Royale needs to be upgraded on? What is booing going to achieve? What are we going to achieve? We need to get 100% behind this manager, and then we can get to great things and go in the right direction. This manager and this team are doing the best that they can in their capabilities at the moment. We don't have the squad. We don't have the players where we can go out there and perform like we did under Prime Poch week in, week out, and get the results like we did there, unbeaten at home all season, and last season at White Hart Lane and stuff like that. We just don't have that right now. And the team need all the backing and all the support that they can get. Yes, we're supporting bog standard average players sometimes at the back in defending and at wing backs, and we don't have the players to maybe fulfill the Conte system. But we need to back this manager, and we need to show him the love and support so he can get the backing, and he can push us on to the heights where we really think we can get to under this manager.
100%.
And again, I agree. I think it's really disappointing, the boos. I think that boos should only be rung out if it's something really, really bad. Really bad. And that doesn't go for a first half performance where, you know, 2 defensive cock-ups and you're 2-0 down at half time. I'm talking about where players disrespect the shirt or something like that. Like a Hossam Ghali moment, like a Tanguy Ndombele moment.
Well, yeah, when the team isn't trying, or, you know, they're not trying their hardest and things like that. I just don't believe that's the case with Tottenham under Conte right now. So I don't understand why the fans have to feel the need to voice their frustration in that kind of way when, like, going to the season, like, obviously the aim was probably a top 3 finish and hopefully a cup, and like. There's nothing to suggest that we can't do that this season. Like, it's not like we're languishing in mid-table or something like that, and like we're just like, it's just the team isn't trying week in, week out, and Conte's lost the dressing room or anything like that. That just isn't the case right now. So I think maybe Tottenham fans need a bit of perspective a lot of the time.
Absolutely. And, you know, like Conte keeps saying, we're a year into this project. Yes, I know it's not really... you know, we don't have Conte signed down, we don't have Kane signed down, so there's a bit, it's all up in the air at the moment a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, Conte's here, Kane's here, and if we give him this love and support and he gets the backing that he needs, then he will be here and he will sign that contract.
Like, I remember when we played United under Nuno in Nuno's last game, obviously the atmosphere was really toxic that day. But rightfully so. Things were terrible. The manager, no one wanted that manager. He was doing a terrible job. The players clearly weren't trying on the pitch. That was evident for everyone to see. And the club was not going in the right direction at all. Everything was a mess. The whole summer with the manager search, it all boiled down to that one moment against Man United. And obviously that was a toxic atmosphere. But that's right. That was right. But you know, are things as bad as they were when we played Man United on that day? No. So why are you trying to make it toxic? I don't understand. Doesn't make sense to me.
If the manager,
is that the modern day football fan? Is that what it is?
Probably
maybe
it is. Probably it is.
Wanting instant success at this very moment.
If you want instant success with this squad, you are seriously deluded. That's just the facts of the matter, I think. And when you've got a manager like Antonio Conte with the pedigree that he has, from what he's shown as well with this squad since he's come in through the door a year ago, if he's the one calling for time and patience, how we need a few transfer windows to fix this mess that we're in. If he's saying that, then the fans should be 100% behind him and support him along the way.
Yeah, and I think there's clear. The thing is with Spurs, there's so clear what we need, and you look at other teams like when Liverpool signed Alisson and Van Dijk, right? It was just very clear to everyone that they needed to improve their backline. Lovren was making mistakes, even at crucial moments. The keeper, Karius, was making mistakes in finals and stuff. They needed those specific positions to upgrade. They upgraded them, and they went on another level. Look at even Arsenal in the summer. They needed a much better striker than Lacazette. They got Jesus. They needed a better centre-back. They had Saliba came in. Obviously, he was on loan, but they was ready to come in. They targeted exactly what everyone could see they needed, and they're much better for it. With us in the summer, we got players that we needed, but wasn't players that we desperately needed to improve the first 11. And that, I think it's very clear what we need. We need at least another centre back. We need another right wing. We need another wing back. And this team will go on. If we had, just imagine we had all 3 of our centre backs were fast. And good, much better on the ball, good on the ball, and like a lot faster. Like, we would be a serious outfit. But right now, you know, Dyer's a bit slow. Davis isn't the quickest. We need to protect those players. We need to play in a certain way that we're not getting opened up that often. Exactly.
Defense.
But imagine just imagine we had like a Saliba or something at the back, someone who had a lot of recovery pace and was big and strong and good on the ball. Like, we wouldn't have to play the way that we did. We could play like we did in the second half, like 90 minutes, 100% we could. But there's just not reality at the moment. So that's the situation as well with wing back. Imagine we had a much better wing back who could actually put in a delivery with time and space on both wings. At the moment, that's not reality. So we have to just keep going with what we have, but it doesn't mean there isn't clear ways forward. Under Nuno, there wasn't a clear way forward. It was just all a mess, everything all over the place. Kane, we couldn't even get Kane to play well, let alone anything else. And when you can't get Kane to play well, you know you're in trouble. But now it's different, and you've seen it with other teams. So what we just need to do that, and it needs time. It doesn't happen in a year.
Now is not the time to boo the team and to turn all toxic. The time to do that would be if Conte doesn't get the backing and he ultimately ends up walking. That would be the time to do that. If we don't have a new defence, or at least somewhat getting towards a new defence by next summer, that would be the time to do it. Right now is not the time, because these players are performing at their best. The manager is doing all he can. And, we're currently in the top 4 and we've qualified into the last 16 of the Champions League. So this team are literally doing the best that they can.
And they've had those injuries. We're relying very heavily on certain players to play pretty much every minute of every game. We can't really rotate certain players, and they're getting worn out. It's very difficult on them right now. As Conte said after the game, for Tottenham, it's very different to have the kind of injuries we've had compared to other teams. For example, you look at Liverpool, the team we're playing yesterday. They had Diaz injured and they had Jota injured. But who do they have up front? They had Nunes, Firmino, and Salah, and they had Harvey Elliott as well, backing them up. So they've got good depth. Yet when we have Kulusevski and we had Richarlison and Son injured and Kulusevski not 100% fit, we have Perisic up front. That's the difference. So they can afford a few injuries and still have good depth. Yet when our depth is injured, that's who we have up front. And that's why it's very different for us to have injuries compared to other teams.
And this is the exact reason why I was frustrated with the summer window. Because at the beginning, it looked like, we're changing our ways, we're getting in signings early. But ultimately, by the end of the window, when it came down to it, we didn't do it anywhere near as much as we needed to do. And that's just the facts of the matter. And like for our first summer under Antonio Conte, with Daniel Levy, with everyone saying, we've got this whole big war chest to spend, and we're going to see a Tottenham like we've never seen them before in the transfer window and all that kind of stuff. It just didn't materialise to that way. No. And it wasn't good enough, nowhere near good enough, to be honest.
Not to compete for a title, I don't think.
Not to compete for a title, no. Not as well with the additions that Arsenal had coming in, with the additions that Man United had coming in, and yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. I mean, look, I don't think I think we can finish top 4, but that's about probably as much as we can achieve this season.
I still think we can get top 3 if we get with our players coming back. But yeah, that's what we expected at the beginning of the season, and judging by our window, and nothing really has changed that in my mind. I just think at the moment things aren't going great because of injuries and because of overplaying players and lack of depth, those kind of things. But it doesn't mean once those things change in the second half of the season we can't go up a level and have a bit of depth. But we need additions for sure, just to help with the depth at the moment. But yeah, look. I just think fans need a bit of perspective as to where we are and before turning things into
fans need to they need to temper their expectations, man, because for fans that think that we're going to go on and challenge for the title just because we have Conte here, you need to look at the squad first and foremost and see where the squad is at, and we need to fix those holes in the squad desperately before we even think about doing what Antonio Conte usually does.
I guess what maybe a fan maybe who's upset right now would argue that how can he believe in a project when Conte hasn't committed yet? I guess that's maybe that would say, and that's why maybe that's also part of the frustration. And
I get that, and I definitely sympathise with that as well, because I also am quite frustrated in that situation, because I think that if Spurs would have pushed the boat out last summer and listened to everything that Antonio said and really targeted the positions where we desperately needed, Conte might have even signed by now.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think we have to be more ambitious, and I think he said that, didn't he, in his press conference before the game?
Barcelona just got Man U.
Oh, it's a Europa League draw.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Barcelona, Man United. Wow.
Wow.
What a tie.
What a
What a
tie
tie.
that is. That's a Europa League tie, by the way, guys.
Barcelona against Man United in the Europa League. That's incredible.
Look, but anyway, I think that can bring an end to the match review. That was our 2-1 loss to Everton, to Liverpool at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday. If you want to come on and have your say, the link is in the community section. We'll get on to guests in just a second, but let's just get through these super chats just before we do. First one from Scorpions fan for life saying, Dyer isn't a top 4 Premier League player. Sell to Jose at Roma. We need a new centre-back and right wing-back. Ruslan will be our centre attacking midfielder, so forget Maddison. I still believe we can get top 4.
Yeah, pretty much agree with most of that. I do believe that you can get top 4 with Dyer in your back three, but we need a better alternative to him. We're just playing him too much. We're playing him every game, and he needs either to be in competition with someone, or to be a backup to someone. That's my opinion. At the moment, he's neither of those things, so that's the biggest problem. I would love Maddison. I'd much rather Maddison. Look, there are rumours at the moment, Malofsky, isn't there? We'll see how that plays out in January, but I'd much rather go for Maddison.
Well,
I'd much rather go for Maddison if we can.
Foggy Foam with the super chat saying, this backline is making us a laughing stock clowns.
It's hurting us at the moment, I have to say.
It's not, it's hard to disagree with that. Kuti with the super chat saying, our backline has to be the focus for January. Ideally, 2 centre-backs and a right wing-back. Sell swap deals for Sanchez, Tanganga, Emerson. # back Conte, not # Conte out. Yeah,
and I do think I agree with that because in the summer, obviously we spent very big on Richarlison. We got Basuma in. But we didn't. We signed Longley and Spence, but it seemed like we cheaped out on the defence and went big in other positions. But I think it's time to go big in defence now.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And the last one from Kuti again saying, if players like Sanchez, Dyer, Davis and Hugo, etc. fuck up, they don't move on and make more mistakes. They're decent as backups, but not good starting together.
If players like Sanchez, Dyer and Hugo... Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. They're much better backups. I think Hugo's still okay, although he's made a few mistakes. But you definitely don't want them starting together. I agree with that.
All right, well, it's time to start bringing on our guests. And first and foremost, let's speak to Grandpa. Hi, Grandpa.
Morning.
Morning. How are you?
You've not seen... I'm good. You've not seen the news that we're playing Milan?
Yeah, we covered it at the beginning of the stream. We did a live reaction to the draw.
Oh, I see. I didn't hear you.
You coming out to Milan, Grandpa?
I didn't hear you at the beginning. No, I don't think so.
But yeah,
I'd like to, but I don't think so.
What was your take on the game? Yeah, too young. Yeah, they're going to have to ID you to get a beer out there.
I think that Conte actually almost word for word described how I felt about the match. I felt that we had the better of the game. We played better. We made 2 terrible mistakes, one worse than the other. I think considering we were missing our top 4 players in that game, and the game before it was the top 5, even 6, because Conte wasn't there. But we lost our best 4 players, and I think we did very, very well considering that. In the first half, not as good as the second half, but it wasn't bad. And in the second half, we really showed people how to play, that we can play football. We passed well. We were clever. We were creative. We were pressing, and it was great. And I just think it was very disappointing that we didn't actually get 1 more goal, or 2 more goals even. I thought, Kulu, when he came on in a couple of minutes, just showed the difference when we've got our best players there.
Yeah.
And I think the other other thing that I didn't hear you mention was really the real problem that Conte has in actually the number of games we've had to play and not being able to change players. I mean, I think Dyer particularly, Kane, they've played every single game and they're just tired and just not tired in a way that they're just not as sharp as they would have been. The other thing I think about the whole of I do think I am totally 100% behind Conte. And I think that he's doing a good job. He's thoughtful, he's careful, he's not too ambitious with bringing on some of the new people he's brought. But nevertheless, he's very careful. And I think that we should go with him. And he's said right from the very beginning, he said we need three periods when we can buy players. And we've only really had one. And we've got the other one coming up now. And so for next year, we should really have the team that he wants, providing he stays, of course, and Kane stays. So I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful. Certainly, I was hoping that we would come top. But I think there's still a chance we could come top, or certainly within the top three. Providing our players stay fit. I think if they don't, we've got real problems unless you can actually, buy a couple of people.
Yeah, Conte was asked yesterday about the booing at half-time, and he was asked if he was disappointed with the fans booing at half-time, and he said he was disappointed in that the fans need to understand the situation and that they need to have excitement and passion, and that gives him fuel. And he was maybe a bit disappointed with some of the fans booing the team over half-time. What should he say that he's disappointed with that?
Interesting. Yes, I think the booing of a team when they're playing reasonably well is ridiculous, and it's not helpful. It doesn't, you notice when we're behind those players, and screaming and shouting and singing, they put in the extra yard. When you're booing them, that doesn't push them on. It pushes them back. Is my view. I thought the booing at halftime, I didn't notice it as much as it had been in previous games. I thought it was better. And also at the end of the game, there was hardly any booing. In fact, there was quite a lot of clapping and cheering because they played so well. So I wasn't against it. I think Perovic made a huge difference to the play when he was up front and when he was back on the wing. And I thought he's really good, and I thought he's got more pace than a lot of people thought. And I think that we should keep persevering with him and putting him up front. I think in a way it is good, particularly if Kulu's not on there and Son. So yeah, I feel very positive. I came away from that game saying, we've proved yet again, and we have done for the last 3 matches, that we can play well. We are a good team. And I think that it's just, it's gone on. Look, this is football. There's some weird games. I mean, I thought the Arsenal and Leeds game was really weird because Leeds really should have won that game. They missed a penalty and they should have won that game. Well, Arsenal's playing seemingly so well. So it's really interesting. And I don't think it can be too put off that we've lost, and I think we've got the opportunity now of a bit of a break for a lot of the players, and I think he will buy a couple of players, I'm sure. Let's hope he can get the right players that he wants, not that he wants, rather than what the fans want. Yeah. Because I think he's going to be the better judge than all of us. We all have so many different views. Right. In terms of what we're thinking.
All fans are the best managers, Grandpa. Don't you know that?
They're all the best managers, but they don't get paid so much. they actually pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
but overall, I just want to push what I pushed last time, and Conte said it as well. When we've got the passion going, it's in the mind. It's not so much the how we play and the systems that we play. It's how we play in our head, how they play in their head. When the passion is there, and that's why the booing actually destroys the passion. Keep that passion going. Every play that's good, really give them a shout. Every play that's bad, just keep quiet. A lot of the booing with the referee, I can understand. I mean, when they start playing so slow, when they're ahead, they need to be booed. And the VAR system, the time it's taking, there's a lot of booing going on around that, and I agree with that. But that's not the team; that's against the system.
That's
So
fair
yeah,
enough.
I'm really positive. Let's hope that we can have even more problems in the new year with games if we get through the Carabao Cup matches. So
Absolutely. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
anyway,
But always a pleasure to speak to you, Grandpa.
Nice one, Grandpa.
We'll see you soon.
Okay. Yeah. Bye.
Come with you, Spurs. Thanks, Grandpa, for coming on. Let's go to our next guest, Akil. Just take this one. I just need to pop down.
Hi, Akil. How you doing?
Yeah, hi guys. Uh, it's not great time. Like we are losing at home to Liverpool. Like Liverpool is like haven't won a single away match this season, and we are Dr. Tottenham, so we gave them a win.
Yeah, and that's usually how it works when Spurs come up against a record like that. But did you feel the result was harsh on us yesterday?
Yes, definitely. It was 2 hours. Like the only team that deserved to win was Tottenham. Like the that was the only. We should have definitely won the game, and I think the referees were totally biased. So what I feel is like whenever we play a match, if there is an English referee, we are definitely going to lose. Because I have seen many times. Actually, I know some of the names. Last night, Darren England was in the VAR, and there is one more referee. I think his name is Anthony Taylor. So whenever we play, whenever that referee is in our game, most of the decisions go against us. So yesterday we had like 2 penalties. Any other day, any other referee we would have definitely got those penalties.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing was once there was like a handball shot on Dyer, and no, I think nobody shouted, like even the referee hasn't seen, but I heard in the commentary that VAR is looking into it. So what can we make out of this? So
Well,
what we are looking is
VAR
like
looks into
we
all
will
the incidents.
take
It
it-
watches everything.
Yeah, but there has to be some limit, right? But there has to be some criteria. Against the Dryer, it was nothing. It was not a handball, and that wasn't even a great shout. But referee thought, oh, it's a Tottenham. Just look at it. It's a Dryer. We might even give a penalty to Liverpool. Yeah, that's how it's working. It's not the first time. Like many of the times, we have lost the games or drawn the games due to VAR. Just happened last week during the Sporting game. We should have won that game. And
What?
I think this is the time we need to like upgrade on Dyer and Emerson.
Yeah, maybe now's the time. We drew AC Milan in the draw for the Champions League next round today. Are you excited with that draw? Do you think it's a good draw for Spurs?
Yeah, I'm not too excited and I'm not too worried also. So I'm in the like, so I'm not totally satisfied with it. I think we can get out of it, but it will be a difficult match
Do you put Tottenham as favourites?
because yes, how can I not put Tottenham as favorite being a Tottenham fan?
Of course. I completely agree. But Akil, it's great to speak to you, mate. I'll speak to you in a bit. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Cheers, Akil. All right, that was Akil. Next up, we have the one, the only. It's me, it's KPV.
Hey.
How you doing, Kyle? His audio's not working. Are you muted, Kyle?
Hello.
There you go. How you doing, Kyle? You're right.
Yeah, I'm good. So I just had to mute myself so you couldn't hear anything because I didn't want to disturb. So I thought I'd mute myself for a second.
No worries,
So
Kyle.
So thoughtful of you, Kyle.
You're welcome.
Are you excited for the AC Milan draw?
Well, I did want Benfica, but they won their group. But AC Milan back to the San Siro. People, book your tickets. Book your tickets for the San Siro. It's time to go back, and we have a good record. I'm excited. I'm definitely gonna go. But the players you mentioned, there's one person who I'm really worried about is Steve Okarigi. History in the final 3 years ago. But anyway, the best has to be Liverpool Real Madrid. That has to be the biggest one. Repeat from the final. They're looking for revenge. Tottenham AC Milan. It's gonna be
What about Bayern
brilliant.
Munich PSG?
Oh my. Bayern PSG, well, it looks like it's a repeat of the final from 2 years ago, ain't it? Bayern
Yeah.
PSG win the final. Then, Bayern PSG, I'd expect Paris Saint-Germain to win because they want revenge after what happened in the final 2 years ago. I just don't want Bayern Munich if we beat AC Milan because I don't think we'll get them if we beat AC Milan, will we?
It'll be a random draw. We can get anyone that wins.
Well, PSG to win, I'm afraid. I'm just glad we didn't get those two because two big guns you don't want to lose to. And I'm just glad we didn't get RB Leipzig. I know you wanted revenge, but I said it. I didn't want them. But their main man is out for the rest of the year. Timo Werner is out. And I have to say, I like what Michael said last night. It was the quote of the night. You probably watched. Nice 5-0-0 formation, you German swat, Jurgen Klopp. I'm excited for the draw. I'm excited for the AC Milan game. That's going to be brilliant. Another win, and we're on the quarters after. But the game yesterday, piss. VAR fucked us over again. Liverpool. Brian Daigle stole my catchphrase yesterday night. Thanks for stealing it, Brian. Thanks for stealing my catchphrase. Liverpool strike again. And what was Dyer thinking? He could have headed it back to Lloris properly, but not like that. Stupid. 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 Salim,
Very stupid. Who was our best player though yesterday, Carl? Even though we lost.
It has to be Ben Teckert. Brilliant. Another brilliant performance. You can see how good he was. But I think Barry said it. SofaScore gave Dyer 7.5 or something. Stupid. Not good. 7.5 SofaScore for Dyer. Worst player, man.
How good was it to see Kulusevski back in the frame?
Brilliant, ain't it? He came off the bench. He was causing them problems, and he sets up Kane for a goal. I know you guys were screaming louder when Kane scored. Okay, the comeback is on. Can we do it from last season? But nah, how were we not given 4 penalties? Lucas was kicked in the head. How was that not given? Bollocks.
Yeah, that was definitely a high boot, wasn't it? Who was it that hit Lucas in the head with his boot?
Yeah, I wasn't sure who it was, but it was definitely it should have been a foul.
Who was it, Carl?
Fabinho.
Fabinho. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
definitely a foul, 100%.
yeah, 100%, man. Like Liverpool struck again. They're now 10 games unbeaten against us. Like, but don't worry, they're going to lose to City at the Etihad in the new year. We still got to play them, and those lockdown seven sisters were the top again, which is not good. But they're going to bottle it anyway in the new year. Like, they're not going to win the title. It'll be City or Newcastle for me. Like, but but like brilliant performance from Hoiberg, Bentancur. Longley should have scored. Kulu, great to see him back. But well, on Wednesday, Nottingham Forest, like we got Leeds, and then the big tournament begins. So yeah, let's concentrate on Wednesday and Saturday, then look forward to the big tournament. And the new year, we need some reinforcements. Like just get rid of the few that are not good enough. Sell the few, bring some in, and Bob's your uncle. That's all I'm saying. But man of the match, there's no debate. Benteke's man of the match, another performance. Like, who do you think was your man of the match?
My
It
man, the
doesn't matter what
match.
you think.
I might even give it to Kulusevski, you know. When he came on, it
Kulusevski.
was just too good. Bissouma was really good, I thought, yesterday. Perisic as well is a contender for it. I think one of those three players, I'd probably say.
Yeah. What are you
All
saying, Tim?
I think Perisic was our best player.
Yeah, Perisic was causing them problems. Like,
He
I
was.
watched the game. He could have scored his first goal, but he hasn't scored yet. But don't worry, people. Perisic is going to score Wednesday and Saturday. Don't worry, it's going to happen. Like, anyway, I'm off to listen to Let the Dogs Out. I'm going to change the word from dogs to hounds.
All right. Kyle,
I'll
good to see you, mate.
Yeah, I'll see you soon. And as always, Levy out, Daigle in.
Daigle in. Can all agree with that. Nice one, Kyle. Good to see you, mate. Who is next?
The
Oh,
Alexander we have next. Alexander. How you doing, Alexander?
Hello, boys. Very
How
well,
are you?
thank God. Yeah, very well, very well.
What?
Can you hear me?
Talk to me about your reaction about the Champions League draw, AC Milan in the last 16.
It's exciting. We beat them last time, so hopefully that's the precedent that we can continue with being successful against them. We've got a manager that knows Italian football inside out, so I think he's probably able. He managed their rivals, so I'm sure he's able to nullify their tactics and knows all about the team that they're going to put out.
Who'd you put as favourites?
It's difficult to tell. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I don't really follow Italian football, so I don't know how they're doing in the league, or if they're mid-table, top of the table.
They're second at the moment.
Oh, they're second. Okay, so look, it's going to be a tough game. They're a giant of European football. So it's hard to say. Hopefully, we'll have enough to go through that. We've got world-class strikers. Hopefully they'll all be fit and available by the time the game comes around.
100%. Talking about yesterday's defeat to Liverpool, which was a frustrating one for a lot of fans. What was your take on the game?
Well, it's the first game I've been to the ground this season, and I actually thought we played very well. Even in the first half, where we went in 2-0 down, I actually thought with a little bit of luck and a decent referee, we actually probably we might well have gone in leading 2-1. Perisic hit the post. We should have had a penalty. Dyer, it's just had a brain fart. You can't really explain those things. But apart from that, I thought we played quite well. They didn't really have any other they had, if you like, threatening moments, but nothing really apart from those 2 goals where we really looked in any sort of danger against them. And even in the second half, we were the better team. And again, the referee, he just had a stinker, absolute stinker. He just let them time waste from pretty much from when they were 1-0 up. There were loads of fouls where Liverpool players followed through, and he just waved play on, didn't give us free kicks. Obviously, there were the 2 penalty incidents, which. So the other thing is, I think the first time I've been in the ground with VAR, and I was really shocked at how badly what's going on at Stockley Park is communicated with fans in the ground. Because obviously, when you watch it on TV, you know exactly what's going on. You know if VAR is checking an incident. You know when the check is over, even if no action is going to be taken. And watching it live, you just all that is gone. You have no idea what's going on, and you see something as blatant as someone being kicked in the face, and you're wondering what the hell is going on, that the referees aren't giving these decisions, or someone being pushed to the floor. And someone actually, guy in front of me at the ground, he had a replay that we saw of the Sessegnon incident, and you saw the view of the referee, and the referee, he's standing behind it, and he can see, Alexander Arnold's arm go across him and push him in the back, and you just wonder what are these referees being told? When is that? When did that stop being a foul? That you push someone over? I don't.
Yeah, and we saw it even yesterday when Man City had a player sent off for exactly the same incident, and no one said that wasn't a foul. But all of a sudden, yesterday, people calling it soft. But I did think it was a penalty. I agree with you. But in terms of the result, as you say, you thought we played well, but we keep shooting ourselves in the foot at the back, don't we, Alex? And when that keeps happening, do you get what you deserve, or would you still say that overall you're happy with how the performances are improving?
I don't know if it's fair to say the performances are improving, because it's just one game, and I don't think we've. I mean, if you look over the whole of the season, we actually haven't played well in very many games at all. The performances have been very, it's quite similar to watching us play under Jose. The main difference is that we've been getting the wins instead of being beaten. So
are you frustrated with things in general then?
I don't know if frustrated is the right look. We don't have a reasonable alternative to Antonio Conte. He's one of the best managers in the world. The reality is that we've had probably since the Champions League final season, we have had a squad that the second raters who from Pochettino's era have become the first choice, and we haven't replaced enough of those players. So the likes of Sanchez, okay, now he's gone back to being second choice. The likes of Moussa Sissoko, he was never a first choice player. He was brought to bolster the squad, and then the players who were better than him left or retired, and we didn't have anyone else to come in. So he became a first choice. Then players like Dyer decided he wants to be a centre back. Jan and Toby in their prime, they're way better players than he is. But we have to move on, and we have to try and replace them. And if you look at I think someone said it before, if you look at Hugo's coming to the end of his career, he's always had a bit of a mistake in him, but he's generally reliable and a good player, but he has to be replaced probably in the summer. The rest of the defence, we've got Sessegnon. To be honest, is he any better than when we signed him? Here and there he shows a bit of promise, but he always looks weak and like he doesn't really have faith in himself. There's Emerson Royale on the other side, who, actually I thought he defended quite well, but you see, he never, he'll have acres of space to run into, and he never takes the guy on, even to try and do him for pace. Forget trying to beat him for skill. It's like he doesn't seem to have any faith in himself as an attacking player, or maybe even just the brain for that type of game. So, and the centre backs, Longley, he looks okay, but he's clearly a second choice stopgap because we couldn't get our first choice. And Davies, again, he's improved as a left centre back. He's certainly done better than I guess a lot of us thought he would do, but he's still not good enough for he's a good squad option, and that's what he always was, but he's one of the players that's now a first choice. That shouldn't be a first choice for a team that wants to be challenging for the title or challenging for trophies. It's good enough.
Absolutely.
You know, we saw it. The other thing, it seems like, I don't know whether it's the additional pressure of being, you know, sort of at the end when Conte took over, we were chasing, and there wasn't really pressure on us. No one thought we were going to get top 4 last season, so they didn't have that pressure. And then this year, suddenly it's, you know, Conte's got a full pre-season. There's a whole different level of expectation, and some of the players who did perform very well as we chased and secured top 4 last season, I think their performance has dropped a little bit. Especially Davies, I think, is probably one of those players. Although actually, I thought he had quite a good game yesterday. To be fair to him, Perisic was good. I think he had one of probably his best game in a Spurs shirt.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Alexander. I'd agree with that. But we are pushed for time now, so unfortunately we are going to have to move on. But thank you so much for calling in. Really good points made, and hopefully we'll get to speak to you soon.
Cheers, Alex.
Bye-bye.
All right, we've got 2 callers left today. Sorry for you guys if you were in the back end, you couldn't get on today, but we are pushed for time to create all the content we want to create for you today. We've got 2 callers left, and without further ado, let's get on our very own, or Tottenham Away's very own, Iggy. Iggy, how are you, my friend?
How you doing, guys? You all right?
Yeah, all good. You're the man. You're
right,
the exact man I wanted to speak to today after that Champions League draw. We're all right, but are you all right today?
Do you know what, mate? My phone has not stopped pinning, man, for about 2 hours straight. Not only in England, but in Italy as well. I've had my cousins on the line. I've had my aunties and uncles, and they're going mad. Do you know what? Honestly, it's been relentless. Like I haven't got anything else to do today. Like literally,
just sit there and think about the draw. That's what you have to do.
Yeah. And I'm here sitting in the corner going, just crying my eyes out. But look, guys, I know for a fact, from their point of view, from AC Milan's point of view, they wanted Spurs. They of all the potential pair-ups, Bayern Munich, Man City, Benfica, Porto, and so on, all these big teams, like they'd said, look, out of all the ones that we've got available, Tottenham was the best outcome for them. We will probably, from our point of view, from Spurs' point of view, we will probably feel the same, man. If you look at what we had, maybe Club Brugge. I know I spoke to Daigle before, and he said he wanted Borussia Dortmund. I'm inclined to think that both AC Milan and Spurs will be happy with that draw. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
Iggy, I want to ask you. Well, I feel okay about it. I mean, there could have been, maybe a Leipzig, or maybe is he gone? Is he there?
He's still
No,
there.
Inter Milan are probably doing worse at the moment than AC Milan. AC Milan had a mixed start to the season, but they're doing all right at the moment. Second in the table, 9 wins out of 13. Iggy, I want to know from you, who are favourites for the tie? Who would you put as favourites?
The thing is, what's favourable is the fact that the second leg is at White Hart Lane. So I know Milan would have wanted the second leg in Milan. That has to be said. So I always favour the team that has the second leg at home. Always. I would always. So in this instance, I think for that reason, if Spurs can go to San Siro, come away with a positive result, even if it's not the result, but come away with a tie still in hand at White Hart Lane. Traditionally, generally speaking, Italian teams in England do not have a good record. So on that front, it is very favourable for Spurs. Form, how we're looking at the moment, like I said, Milan are doing really well. They had a bit of a quite dodgy bit of a period there. I know Chelsea, they didn't get the best of results, but they look like they're slowly going to getting back to form, and there will be, their players everyone will be available after the new year. So yeah, it's going to be a tricky one, man. And obviously, a few ex-players that played in England as well, like Giroud, who's going to relish that opportunity as well. So it's a tough one, man. And I honestly, and I said this with Daigle, I just spoke with him before I came here. Spurs have to improve on the transfer market come January. I think we need to beefing up the squad. There's no way. I hate to think we're going into that game with the same squad of players that we have right now, or same numbers of players that we have right
It was it's a long time till that game, February.
now.
So
Well,
Is it on Valentine? Has the date been set?
I think they said someone said Daigle. I think Daigle said it was on the 14th.
it could be. It could be. I don't think it's been set yet.
I don't know.
So
but Graham's in the comments saying he's booked already, so maybe it has been.
Oh, maybe.
After game.
But Iggy, you watch a lot of Tottenham this season. You've watched a lot of AC Milan this season.
Yeah.
How do you feel like the games are going to go, and what threats do you think Milan pose to Tottenham?
Right, from Milan, in Milan's point of view, man, the Rafael and Teo Hernandez on that left-hand side are honestly frightening. If they're on their A game, I look at our right-hand side, be it Emerson or whoever you want, that's a frightening thought from that aspect of things. They do play a really high line, so if Spurs can get the quickest players up, then we could potentially get in and beyond. They do play line. Midfield Tonali, that would be like a cracking little him Tonali and Benacer versus Højbjerg and Bentancur. That is going to be a real battle for the midfield. Milan's right hand side is probably not as strong as the left, so that's something that the focus definitely be on our right, their left hand side. But it's our defense. It's Spurs' defense that worries me, man. I saw signs of it yesterday at Liverpool, and I just think that Leao and even Giroud himself and even Ibrahimovic will be back for that game as well, because he'll be back from injury by that point. Even as old as they are, man, those forwards, they will pose a threat against our defense due to their know-how and so forth. So we really need to. I really do feel like we need to improve on our defense. If we can do that, then I think the rest of the team, Spurs definitely have more than enough. Payne, Kulusevski, and a real sharp Son by that point, hopefully, to cause them problems.
Iggy, I want to know this from you. Is this a win-win or a lose-lose for you?
I've lost. I'll be honest. People said it's a win-win because I get one of my teams through. They've said this to me, but I'm like, I see it as a loss because I'm seeing one of my teams going out. Whatever way I look at it, I see it, and no one will believe me. Goes, oh, who you cheering for? If I say Spurs, now you're lying. If I say Milan, I get it. Both ways. So. It's a nightmare scenario, and the game that you guys spoke about, where Crouchy got the winner, I didn't watch that game, man. I didn't watch that game because it was too much for me to. And I've done, this time I want to be there at the stadium. I do want to be at the stadium and actually just enjoy another Champions League night, because it's not for many to not play. Most of them play. Now these ones that are piping up a lot play on Thursday nights. And it's not for many to play on the Champions League night, so I'm going to enjoy it for as long as I can.
Fair enough.
Absolutely. Iggy, always a pleasure, my friend, to speak to you. Good to see you yesterday.
Nice one,
and
Iggy.
hopefully see you on the weekend as well, my friend.
I will be there, guys. Come on, you Spurs, always.
Nice one, Iggy.
Come on. It's interesting what he's saying about Zlatan Ibrahimovic, right? If he's going to be fit by then, because back in 2011 he played against us in that day for the Milan, and he scored right at the end, didn't he? A disallowed goal
in the San Siro.
In the San Siro, which nearly knocked us out.
Yeah, that was first leg.
It was the first leg,
yeah,
but that goal could have, because it was 0-0 in the next leg, wasn't it?
Yes, we would have gone through.
We would have gone through on away goals. To be fair, yeah.
But true, Zlatan. He still has it, man. He still has it. Even with injuries, he's still good. So I hope he isn't fit, because you just never know. The story's
Would you rather see him up front than Giroud up front, or Giroud up front than him, or Origi?
They're both good. I'd rather see Origi than either of them two, to be honest.
All right, and let's go on to our final caller of the day, Mr. Brian Daigle, with his Italian job T-shirt on. How you doing, Brian?
I'm good, man. I've been wearing this one a lot because I'm packing and everything. Or I say packing, me and Ilana are packing, and by that I mean Ilana's packing. I'm giving her clothes to fold. So I'm just wearing stuff that I won't be wearing to England. So, so yeah, I've been
No,
wearing
what,
this.
you're not bringing it to England?
Mate, I'll just buy one from you. This will be my home one. I'll have an away one there. So, I'm
You're here
coming
to
make
make
you
money, not spend money.
Well, what can I say?
We'll
What
have
can
to
I say?
give you one
Perks of
then.
the job. There you go. See, look at that. Look at that. Look how I did it. Look at the subliminal messaging. But how we doing, boys?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Frustrated with the result yesterday. Happy with the draw today. What's your reaction to the draw?
As you were saying, I wanted Dortmund just because we seem to have their number when we get them in the Champions League last 16. But we had this with Milan as well, didn't we? Back in the Harry Redknapp days. So I didn't want to get Paris for obvious reasons. I didn't want to get Club Brugge because I think they're a huge banana skin, and also someone that I speak very, very regularly about, a Canadian that's going to play very well in the World Cup. Tajan Buchanan plays for them, and he's a very, very good player. So, yeah, I mean, like Iggy said, I think when that draw came out, every single person in the Tottenham Hotspur community just thought of one person and one person only,
Yeah, absolutely.
and that's our brother Iggy. I mean, literally, like when he said his phone was pinging, he came on Tottenham on tour, but I can only imagine, kind of like when Daniel Levy said he was injecting the money into the club in the summer, and my phone went absolutely ballistic. I'm pretty much sure Iggy had the same feeling. But listen, you get to the last 16 and you get someone, everyone's there on merit. You've got to deal with it, haven't you?
And talk to me about the game yesterday. What were your thoughts on that?
Bipolar Tottenham Hotspur FC came into play once again. This defence needs open heart surgery. I do not understand what we're doing. As you said, we saw in 80 seconds how important Kulusevski is to this team. It took 80 seconds to show just how pivotal, how vital and instrumental he is to anything we do. And it's just not good enough. It's just simply not good enough. And for people saying, you got to remember when we were all saying
Sorry,
it's the best.
FSG have just put Liverpool up for sale by David Ornstein.
Yeah, I just read that.
Wow. Sorry, Brian.
No, I mean that's huge, and that's brilliant. Another multi-billionaire will come and buy Liverpool and give Liverpool more money. Phenomenal news. Yeah, what was I saying? We're just. I don't understand what we're doing. I just don't understand what we're doing, how we're going about this, how Emerson still gets on the pitch is just a complete mystery to me. And that defence needs surgery, doesn't it?
Can we expect any more from the club and from the players and from Antonio Conte with what we have right now?
Antonio Conte, like I said, is working miracles, like parting the Red Sea, like making oil last for 8 days, having 2 animals on an arm. What more can he do? What more can he do with a depleted squad? Once again, we knew we needed defenders. When we were on Tottenham on tour just a moment ago, someone said when Pep took over Man City, what's the first area he sorted and he thought they needed help? He went mad on defence. When Newcastle came in, what was the area they first sorted out? Nick Pope,
Defense,
Botman. Yeah. And once again, we have this glaring area of a department of our play that needs. You look at Eric Dyer and Ben Davies. They've been there now for almost 2 decades combined. We haven't won a trophy, and they keep getting contracts. Whether they've shown things that do it. I'm not denying Ben Davies and Eric Dyer last season were instrumental. But this is coming up to 2 decades now, and they've had more bad seasons than they've had good. But we don't replace, we don't improve, we give new contracts. Conte is doing everything he can, and anyone that is slating Conte are just ridiculous. It's the most stupidest. It really, really is, because when people go, "Oh, Brian, who's going to take over Levy if he goes?" I don't look for.
Oh, he's still there. He's still there, Brian.
You're back, Brian.
Are we back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Do you know what it is? I started mentioning that man, and look what happened. So yeah, you look at it. We just, they've been there for what are the top 6 team? Let's play stay for 2 decades that haven't won, and it's gone again.
No, you're there. You're there.
Yeah, you're back, but you keep it keeps coming off for a second and then coming back.
Yeah,
And he's gone again, and he's back again.
Yep. Oh dear, but yeah, and it's got again.
No, you're here. Just carry on talking. I think the audio still works.
Oh mate, so yeah, as I was saying, I've lost so much for what I say. Yeah, but any other top 6 team don't let players sit around for 2 decades and give them new contracts. They try and improve. We just need to deal with it. We just need to face up to it, and we need to give Conte what he needs in January, and hopefully we get what he needs, and then we'll kick on. I firmly believe if we give Conte what he wants, and he doesn't go spend hundreds of millions, give the man what he wants and who he wants, not replicas, we'll be fine, and we could go for glory. But if we don't, we're in problems. We're in big problems.
Brian, what's your thoughts on fans booing yesterday at half time? Is that a right thing? You agree with it, or do you think they shouldn't be booing?
So listen, I look at it, and when people are booing at the stadium, I see it. There could be 5 things. It could be the style of play, it could be the manager, it could be the ref, it could be the board, and it could be all of them. I think this is solely down at the players. Anyone that's booing Conte, I just don't get it. Who else is going to come in? You asked me about who's going to take over at the board. Any manager we get is a demotion, is a downgrade. I think we know these players are capable. We know what these players can do. But they're just not performing. They're just not performing, and it's not good enough. And we pay, or not me, because I won't pay a penny, but you guys, especially you two, and all the people that go there, pay the highest season ticket prices to see this, and pay the highest of everything, and travel up and down the country. You have your right to share your thoughts and your unhappiness. I had a guy here at the Scotland Yard that actually travels every home game from Dorset, 3.5 hours on the train, up and down for every home game, and he's fed up with what's going on with the players. It's not Conte, it's the play, it's the way we're playing, and the performance they're putting in. So you pay your money, you're allowed to voice your criticism. You know where my boos go when I'm directing it. It's certainly not Conte. It's certainly not a Conte, and people shouldn't be directing their hate at Conte one bit.
All right, Brian. Always good to get your opinions, my friend, and we'll see you on Wednesday, I believe.
Come on, Brian.
I cannot wait, boys. I cannot wait. I will see you on Wednesday. Looking forward to it very, very much. And I will see you all very, very soon. And I don't know if it's going to go through, but I'm going to do it anyway. And as always, Levy out.
All right.
Oh, mid-Levy out.
Well done, Brian. But I think that is all we have time for today. Sorry if you couldn't get in today, but we do have a lot of content to make come your way today. Next up will be player ratings and 5 takeaways. But a nice mammoth stream for you guys. We'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.
Spurs.